And online, we have Dr. Boris Shokat Sab from Bahrain. So now we are moving toward our second session, which is very important for us. We will start with the well-renowned scholar, indeed, Professor Dr. M. Kabir Hassan Sahab. I would like to invite him to present his views regarding the global perspective on ethical governance, Islamic finance, lessons from the digital age. Professor Dr. Kabir Hassan Sahab.
Hello, hello. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Are we back from tea break? Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Well, I thank the organizer for inviting me to be present physically. I have attended your conference before online, and thank you for this opportunity. So I do have a little bit a longer presentation, but I'll try to cut short. So the question is, we are in the digital new technology and AI for the last 2 years. We are in new field. Lot of unknowns, lot of disruption. It is disrupting the conventional financial space. Of course, along with it, Islamic financial space is also being disrupted. So there was a Greek philosopher said, change is the only constant. The banking industry is going through these changes. We had the digital banking long before AI came in. And if the banking industry in general and Islamic finance in particular doesn't learn how to move with this change, is going to be a dinosaur. Now we can give the example, the way this Uber disrupted the taxi service, or this Airbnb shook up the hospitality industry. Now you know the story, sad story of Kodak. Kodak registered the change when the digital photography came in. They wanted to be in the same old format, and now it's a history. So just want to give you how things are changing. Just one change in supply chain. The traditional method was you had the raw material, then you have the wholesale, manufacturer, distribution, retail, customer. Then came in design and 3D printer. Now it really reduced the supply chain process significantly, thus reducing cost and make the product available on a faster basis. So what are the new technologies that are shaping our new world? So we have the AI, you have the 3D printing, you have Internet of Things, blockchain, remote sensing, robotics, and all connected devices. Then this rate of new innovation on absorption is moving in a very exponential rate. Like usually it says that in 18 months, chips are becoming upgraded. So in 18 to 3 years, the computer they have bought, it loses its functionality, or you have a computer which is 2 or 3 times faster than, and remember the first computer that had, the bulky one right now, is a very lean, thin ThinkPad you can move around. So just to give you an idea, electricity came in the United States in 1873. It took 46 years to reach the 25% of the population. If you take the most recent innovation, which is Facebook, came out 2004, 21 years ago, it took only 4 years to reach the 25% of the population. Facebook, it took about 3.5 years. Facebook came in 2007. So just to give you an idea how technology is moving faster than we can think of. Now that, of course, is disruption. Any technology has a positive side, negative side, new thing we do not know, and artificial intelligence will come. It's even more, it could be disruptive if it is not properly regulated. Because what happens in artificial intelligence, they're collecting your information, and big data provider, 2 or 3, monopoly of information, and they will control our life. We really do not control them, how to collect information, use it. So some of the figures, there's a McKinsey study done. This digital finance can contribute about $3.7 trillion to the emerging markets economy, almost 6% of their GDP. It can create 35 million jobs. These are 1.6 billion newly included individuals, 4.2 trillion in deposit, 110 billion annual reduction, 2.1 trillion. So these are the some positive impact of digital technology, digital banking that's going to happen. Now, in the academic institution, now we cannot really deny the importance of AI. There was a study done in 2024 Work Trend Index annual report from the Microsoft LinkedIn surveyed 31,000 individuals from the knowledge workers, business leaders, and decision makers from 31 countries over a period February-March 2024. What it says, 66% of leaders would not hire someone without AI skills. You must, it's like another thing that you need to know, like, how to run the computer. 77% of the leaders say early in career talent will get greater responsibility due to AI. And the most alarming thing, 71% respondents say the leaders are more likely to hire a less experienced candidate with AI skills than a more experienced one without them. So I will hire a person with a, let's say, technical degree with AI capabilities, then I will hire a full-fledged, PhD in engineering. So that's the way it is moving. You probably heard about Elon Musk saying that you don't need to go to college. You can learn on the coding and you can find a job, or will hire, Amazon will hire with you with six-figure salary. So actually that is also having an impact in the US. A lot of students, high school graduates, are not going to college. It's not only low income. From the elite class, they started learning all this technique, started their own startup. And of course, they have the example of Mark Zuckerberg, who went to Harvard but didn't finish it. But he's the second most rich man in the world that I know in the last figure. So these are the technologies. Some way, there's a social, ethical challenges that I mentioned. So I want to put this into the perspective of Islamic finance. But before I do this, let's refresh our memory what Islamic finance is. Very often we forget. So what are the basic building blocks of Islamic finance? Of course, start with avoidance of riba, risk-free or guarantee rate of return on loan money on investment. Second one, avoidance of riba, excessive uncertain contracts, enter into transaction whose consequences out of usual trade norms, financial derivatives, still question, the fatwa is going on back and forth. Insurance contract, we have agreed on what type of insurance is acceptable, sale of debt, that creates the enter right now in 2028, whether like it or not, Pakistan has to become a riba-free economy according to the constitutional change, unless somebody else comes and change the constitution. That possibility is there too. In Pakistan or Bangladesh, anything could happen. Avoidance exploitation, relationship to reflect justice and fairness. Then you have avoidance of jahala, clarity of intention and transparency is imperative in all dealings. Then you have avoidance of qimar, gambling, and chance-based zero-sum game. And finally, and that's important, avoidance of haram transactions. You cannot involve in haram transactions. So everyone who is sitting here, all of these things. Just I want to refresh your memory so that I can bring back how this technology will have this impact on this thing. So if you compare why Pakistan wants to move from riba-based system to a riba-free system, if you look at what it does in lending, the riba-based system is more like a debt-based economy, because it's more pro-debt, because it has taken a model from the Western economic system, which is based on riba. It creates debt. But if you look at Islamic finance, go to the core of it, Islamic financial products, which are very close to the maqasid, the partnership type of financing, mudarab and musharaka, that is more like pro-equity type. So what does it do? In pro-equity type, if you do equity-based, it's a positive sum game, win-win framework. You always invest in real asset. Any financial product has to be connected with the real asset. So that means it prevents financialization. So this morning, one of our esteemed speakers was talking about Pakistan has come up with sukuk. You have to be careful what the sukuk does. It creates more and more debt in the economy. You are financializing. So Mufti Taqi Usmani said there are two types of sukuk. In the futuristic, you are creating new asset, that's good. But most of the sukuk you'll see are using existing infrastructure or existing assets. So that's, you are basically monetizing your asset many times. So that's not really good for the economy. Sometimes we just lose sight of this thing. Risk sharing is there, but we talk about this thing. In Pakistan, if we take example, Islamic finance industry, 80% are murabaha banking. Murabaha banking is needed. It's halal. But we need to go beyond it to get the maqasid of Sharia. In the Quran, Allah said, riba is haram. Allah did not tell you, give me a bank. This is what human construct we have created. But we have made an original sin when we take this banking model to do Islamic finance. All the criticism about Islamic banking is coming from there. So let a bank be a bank, Islamic bank, they're doing fine. There's no halal, haram thing they're doing. But the question is, we need to go beyond it. You have 30% university educated unemployment in Pakistan. The government sector cannot give them job, private sector cannot give them job. How they become, they need to be employed, they make to make a living. And Islam is the most entrepreneurial religion. You know, after you say your prayer, move in the earth and find your livelihood. But we do not really need to look for a job in the government or private sector. We can be our own boss. So in order to promote this, tell me what Islamic Bank is giving you. So if let's say, oh, I have an engineering degree from Riphah University, go to Mizan Bank, give me some money so that I can start. You will never get this thing. Oh my God, I need to complete. Okay, let me, I didn't even count. I just want to, sometime, because I'm East means the West. So sometimes you think that you want to westernize. Some people say, no, we don't westernize. You cannot really avoid the West, okay? There are good things in the West, but unfortunately, we take only the bad things. So when you do this westernize, do you adopt the Western popular culture, like clothes, everything like this, avoiding Western lifestyle, or you westernize by adopting Western work ethics, adopting Western business ethics, adopting Western governance ethics? The reason I'm saying this, we can be happy animal, you know, following the Western culture, popular culture, and so on. Or we could be unhappy human, we do not really do anything, or we could be happy human. So how can you do this? If you follow the Western thinking values, you'll become a happy animal. If you do not do nothing, you will be unhappy human. But if you take uplifting values, there are values that we can learn from the West, and you will become a happy human. So what you do, if we ignore the West completely, we will be unhappy human. If we imitate the West for its thinking values, we will be happy animal. If we imitate the West for its uplifting values, we will happy human. I know there are a lot of courses, you have great scholars you have created in Pakistan. If you go to Middle East, GCC, every other scholar says talking in Urdu. That means they are Pakistani raised and trained scholars. And I'm very hopeful that the Pakistan, being a Sunni country, will be able to convert into riba-free economy. I can tell you, if that experiment becomes successful, a series of Muslim countries will also change their financial system, because that is the system that is very helpful. Now, connecting with this governance principle, everything that my previous authors, presenters mentioned, I just want to say something. AI is good. It has good side and bad side. AI is value neutral. Like a television, you can see good things, bad things. Now the question is, I want you to read sometime, you know, just because a book is written by a non-Muslim or somebody, there's an Israeli scholar, his name is Yuval Hariri. He has written a book called Homo Sapiens. He is the foremost authority of the development. He's a history professor, by the way. The development of AI, how it is changing, how this our private information is being sold out to somebody else, how third party is will be controlling our life. So he's talking about, yes, let AI to proceed, is going to change many things, there is a one estimate said there's called AI agent. AI agent can replace a doctor, replace an engineer, replace me as a professor. So now the question is, these big 2 or 3 companies monopoly of your knowledge, I mean, I'm talking information, we really need to be careful having a policy in place, and that policy is must, of course, even a conventional sense to begin with. Islamic one is even more. But I am in favor of technology, all this blockchain, other technology, AI, because that's going to make Islamic finance industry more transparent. And this transparency is a big issue, and I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. If you want to do any study on Islamic finance, if you want to go to a bank or something, they don't want to share the data. I'm not talking about the confidential issue. I'm talking about the simple data, financial data. So you really cannot do a study. I can tell the good or bad things. So we have to be mindful that we do not let the big corporations collect our information, monopolize it, and sell it back to it and control our life, whether it's an Islamic finance or conventional finance. So with these things, I want to conclude. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Dr. Kabir Hassan Saab, for sharing such a detailed presentation regarding the ethical perspective and the basic blocks of Islamic finance, riba, gharar, and all things to be ensured in AI and fintech. Now, I would like to invite our second speaker of this session, Mr. Noshad Minhas Saab, CEO, co-founder of Wali Financial Services.
Assalamu alaikum. I hope everyone is fine and enjoying the event. May I have a clicker, please? अगर आप लोगों के पास clicker है, ये काम करता है. अगर पहली slide लगा लें. Thank you. मेरा नाम नौशाद है जनाब. मैं CEO हूँ वली फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज का. कुछ बुनियादी इंट्रोडक्शन आपको करा देता हूँ. I had been in banking for good 17 years since 2003 to 2019. उस वक्त डिजिटल बैंकारी पे, फ्यूचर ऑफ फाइनेंस पे, फ्यूचर ऑफ फिनटेक पे, डेमोक्रेसी इन फाइनेंस पे, टोकनाइजेशन पे काम होना स्टार्ट हुआ. हम मुल्क से बाहर जाते थे. We thought that before disrupting industry, a person like me should disrupt myself because we had some horse blinders while working for banks, very structured organizations. That's why I joined a company in USA to lead technology and product. By virtue of that, we were able to build the first buy now, pay later licensed registered company in Pakistan, Kispe, who raised $15 million, after which we built a digital asset exchange made in Pakistan, operative in Indonesia and Dubai because of the license. इस तमाम collective wisdom को हमने अब वली financial services के अंदर embed कर दिया है और हम पहला Islamic based nano finance platform है जो पाकिस्तान की communities के लिए build किया गया है और इंशाल्लाह globally expand करेगा. आज मेरे आने का मकसद, thank you first of all Riphah University and Riphah Management, hats off and well done. This is not the first time we are attending the event. 2 years ago when we attended the event, Hakeem happened. And today my purpose of coming here is to play with your brain neurons, rekindle some energy and cells so other Hakeems and Wali Financial Services in global Islamic banking fraternity would happen, inshallah. I would start with 3 stories in next 10 minutes. First, everybody is known to 2008 meltdown subprime mortgage crisis. Yes, I think everybody got affected at that point in time. उस वक्त मैं मुल्क से बाहर दुबई में दुबई इस्लामिक बैंक के लिए as non-resident पाकिस्तानी unit head काम कर रहा था. I think that point in time मेरा career 3 साल का था, but it was a decent wake up call कि meltdown भी कोई चीज होती है और इसके aftermaths emerging credit starved countries तक भी पहुंच सकते हैं. So I just wanted to tell you and park this thought at the back of your mind, and we will build up. That's why we are talking about subprime mortgage crisis. By the way, subprime mortgage crisis के aftermaths tokenization है, democratization है, blockchain है, Web3 है, fintech है, startups हैं, venture capitalist हैं, corporate venture capitalist हैं, family offices हैं, startup valuations हैं और Silicon Valley है. लेकिन इसमें एक चीज beautifully hidden है, वो है true Islamic practices जो कि ethical finance का की बुनियाद रखती हैं और ट्रू डेमोक्रेसी इन फाइनेंस लेकर आती हैं। अच्छा हुआ 2008 का मेल्टडाउन हुआ, लोगों ने ब्लॉकचेन के ऊपर काम किया। इवेंचुअली आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू से, आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू प्रेडिक्ट दैट इट्स फेलिंग, इट्स नॉट, बिकॉज इट्स नॉट इन अ फैंसी स्टेज, बट स्टिल लॉट टू डू। हाउएवर आई थिंक हमारा पर्सनल बिलीव ये है कि इस्लामिक फाइनेंस का एक नई इंपॉर्टेंस ने जन्म लिया है, सिर्फ मुसलमानों के लिए नहीं बल्कि नॉन मुस्लिम कंट्रीज और नॉन मुस्लिम कस्टमर्स के लिए। बहुत सारी किताबें आई हैं, टू बिग टू फेल, बहुत सारी मूवीज आई हैं। मेरी आप लोगों को हमेशा सजेशन ये होती है इन मूवीज को एजुकेशन पर्सपेक्टिव से देखें, बिकॉज जितना आप डिकंस्ट्रक्ट करेंगे 2008 के सब प्राइम मॉर्गेज क्राइसिस को, उतनी आपको अपॉर्चुनिटीज नजर आएंगी इस ब्रोकन फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम को जोड़ने के लिए। सेकेंड स्टोरी, 2008 के बाद द रियल वेकअप कॉल। आई थिंक जो हमारी टीम बैठी है हकीम की, ये स्टोरी मेरी सुन के उनको भी याद होगी, बट आई लाइक द स्टोरी, सो आई वुड लाइक टू अगेन नरेट इन माय ओन वर्ड्स। आप मेरी लेंस से देखें कि दुनिया में क्या हो रहा था। In 2016, I happened to be in USA in Boston at Harvard Square. There is a very famous Pete's coffee shop, which is 150 years old. I walked into this coffee shop and this lady came to me and she said, "Are you a bank's customer?" I was amazed, shocked, and astonished. I said, "What is she saying? Why its coffee shop is a bank? Is this a bank?" And it happened to be a bank. बिकॉज कैपिटल वन बैंक ने 2016 में 17 ब्रिक एंड मॉर्टर ब्रांचेस बंद करके पहला प्रूफ ऑफ कॉन्सेप्ट किया था कि कम्युनिटीज के अराउंड हम फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम बनाएंगे। और आज अभी 1 साल पहले मैं न्यूयॉर्क में था, 5th स्ट्रीट के ऊपर, वहां पे कैपिटल वन कैफे के नाम से प्रॉपर एक कैफे है, लेकिन वो बैंक है। ये बात मैं आप लोगों को क्यों कह रहा हूँ? क्योंकि हमारा जो वली फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज की बुनियाद है वो कम्युनिटीज की है। आज मैं बात इस वक्त आपको स्टोरी बता रहा हूँ डेवलप्ड कंट्री की कम्युनिटी की, जो कॉफी के अराउंड घूमती है। इमेजिन करें कि अब की कम्युनिटीज ना सिर्फ फ्रीलांसर्स हैं, ना ब्लू कॉलर वर्कर हैं, और हो सकता है वो कॉफी के बगैर पाकिस्तान में चाय के इर्द गिर्द घूमें। ये कैसा होगा अगली स्लाइड में बताता हूँ, बट जस्ट पार्क दीज टू थॉट्स इन योर माइंड। आई नो दिस इज टू मच ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन, बट आई जस्ट हैव 10 minutes. From the communities for the communities. वली टेक्नोलॉजी आज से कुछ साल पहले एक स्टार्टअप था, अब माशाल्लाह लीडिंग कॉर्पोरेट है। दुनिया का सबसे अच्छा और इंपॉर्टेंट मार्केटिंग टेक्नोलॉजी प्लेटफॉर्म है, जहां पे 5 लाख ऑनलाइन टीचर्स, फ्रीलांसर्स, इन्फ्लुएंसर्स, की ओपिनियन लीडर्स मौजूद हैं, और वो 7000 ब्रांड्स को सर्व कर रहे हैं। उसमें अलमराई भी आता है, उसमें गवर्नमेंट्स भी आती हैं जो नैरेटिव बिल्ड करते हैं। उस वक्त इन्फ्लुएंसर्स, की ओपिनियन लीडर्स, ऑनलाइन टीचर्स, फ्रीलांसर्स, वली टेक्नोलॉजी जो हमारी पेरेंट कंपनी है उसकी क्या थी? कम्युनिटी। उस कम्युनिटी को सर्व करने के लिए फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन अभी मेरे ख्याल से बहुत ज्यादा मैच्योर नहीं थे। दे वर नॉट ओपनिंग द बैंक अकाउंट्स फॉर द ऑनलाइन टीचर्स, दे वर नॉट प्रोवाइडिंग द फाइनेंस टू द फ्रीलांसर्स। दैट अपॉर्चुनिटी gave the opportunity for Wali Financial Services to came into being. We started doing financing for these freelancers and online teachers, and that was money coming in from the community for the community concept. हमने उस वक्त, क्योंकि वली का नाम, वली अल्लाह ताला के दोस्त को अरबी में कहते हैं, इस कॉन्सेप्ट पे रखा गया। हमने वहां पे इस्लामिक स्कूप प्राइवेट बॉन्ड्स इंट्रोड्यूस करवाए अपनी ग्रुप ट्रेजरी में, और उस इन्वेस्टमेंट को पार्क किया ताकि इन्फ्लुएंसर फाइनेंशियली फ्रीडम हासिल कर सकें और ग्रो कर सकें। आज ये प्लेटफॉर्म $300 मिलियन का ग्रॉस मर्चेंडाइज वैल्यू करता है, और ये पाकिस्तानी प्लेटफॉर्म 6 जगह पे काम कर रहा है। इसकी तारीफ मैं इसलिए कर रहा हूं क्योंकि इसके अंदर से ही हकीम निकला है। हकीम अल्लाह ताला की एक सिफत है जिसको विजडम कहते हैं, आप लोग मुझसे बेहतर जानते हैं। सो वी वुड लाइक टू वर्क ऑन द फाइनेंशियल वेलनेस, एथिकल फाइनेंशियल प्रैक्टिसेस टू मेक द लोएस्ट ऑफ द पिरामिड वाइज फाइनेंशियली, और वो वक्त के साथ साथ हमारी एप्लीकेशन और हमारी फाइनेंशियल एजुकेशन यूज करते हुए वाइज हो भी रहे हैं, और आगे स्लाइड्स में आपको पता चलेगा कैसे। हमारा टैगलाइन है सूद नहीं तिजारत। थैंक यू टू SCCP। आई थिंक कल ट्रेनिंग्स में भी बहुत सारी बात हुई होगी। बहुत सारे हमारे मेंटोर्स हैं जिन्होंने हमें रास्ता दिखाया, गाइडलाइन किया। हमने अपना शरिया डिपार्टमेंट बनाया। हम वो वाहिद पाकिस्तान की ऐसी कंपनी है जिनका प्रॉपर NBFC के अंदर शरिया डिपार्टमेंट एक डिजिटल इस्लामिक बैंक की तरह फुल फ्लेज काम करता है। और द रीजन हमें इतने सारे ग्लोबल अवार्ड्स मिले क्योंकि हमने कम्युनिटीज के लिए काम किया, बिकॉज अंडरलाइन टेक्नोलॉजी, अंडरलाइन डिजिटल एसेट, फिलहाल हमने एयर टाइम को इंटीग्रेट किया। ए टाइम एक ऐसा डिजिटल एसेट है जो कि 55,000 ऑनलाइन रिटेलर्स पाकिस्तान में बेचते हैं, 4 एग्रीगेटर्स हैं, 5 टेलकोज हैं, 1 ट्रिलियन रुपए से ऊपर एयर टाइम बिकता है। तो ये पहला यूज केस था जिसको हमने अंडरलाइन कमोडिटी बनाया, जिसकी वजह से हम अब एक इस्लामिक फाइनेंस का काम करते हैं। लेकिन ये तो स्टार्ट है। जब डिजिटल एसेट एयर टाइम हो सकता है तो वक्त के साथ साथ जो मैं आपको सब प्राइम मॉर्गेज क्राइसिस का बता रहा हूँ, आगे चल के एससीसीपी के साथ डिजिटल एसेट टोकनाइजेशन का इंजन हो सकता है। एज वी स्पीक आज हम बैंक्स के साथ और बैंक्स के अलावा डिजिटल वीट, डिजिटल कमोडिटी राइस की सेलिंग के प्लेटफॉर्म की मेकिंग एंड डेवलपमेंट पे काम करें, क्योंकि हमारी कंपनी में सुपीरियर टेक्नोलॉजी के लोग मौजूद हैं और डाटा साइंस के 25 वो लोग मौजूद हैं जिनके पास इंतहाई इंपॉर्टेंट डाटा है जिसके ऊपर हम ये सारा काम करते हैं। एक थोड़ा सा टॉप लाइन मैं आपको बता दूं इस्लामिक फाइनेंस का। इस्लामिक फाइनेंशियल इंडस्ट्री 2033 तक $7.7 ट्रिलियन का एसेट अंडर मैनेज करेगी। एज वी स्पीक आई बिलीव के 2.5 ट्रिलियन है। इसकी CAGR ग्रोथ 12% है, द फास्टेस्ट इन द वर्ल्ड। मुसलमान 2.2 बिलियन है जो ऑलरेडी बाकी लोगों के हिसाब से ज़्यादा हैं और आई थिंक ज़्यादा रेशो से बढ़ भी रहे हैं। लेकिन इस्लामिक बैंकिंग बड़ी आम फहम सी बात है। अगर सिर्फ जितनी मुसलमान कंट्रीज हैं और मुसलमान लोग वहाँ पे मौजूद हैं सिर्फ उनके लिए नहीं है, अब तो नॉन मुस्लिम्स भी इस्लामिक फाइनेंस को एथिकल होने की वजह से यूज़ करते हैं। एथिकल क्यों है? क्योंकि उसके अंदर चैरिटी का कॉन्सेप्ट है, उसके अंदर अंडरलाइंग रियल टाइम डिजिटल और नॉन डिजिटल एसेट्स का कॉन्सेप्ट है। बाकी तमाम बैंक्स में ये नहीं कहता या फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन में ये नहीं कहता फेल नहीं होता, लेकिन मैं जो समझाना चाह रहा हूँ सर वो ये है कि 1930 के ग्रेट डिप्रेशन के बाद हर 10 साल के बाद एक ग्लोबल फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस आता है और वो ग्लोबल फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस 2008 की तरह होता है। उसके बाद डिसरप्शन होती है, डेमोक्रेसी इन फाइनेंस पे काम होता है, फिर वो सिस्टम खड़ा हो जाता है। लेकिन 70s और 70s से पहले से इस्लामिक फाइनेंशियल सिस्टम वक्त के साथ आहिस्ता आहिस्ता मुस्तहकम ग्रो ही कर रहा है और इवेंचुअली ये तमाम चीज़ें इस्लामिक फाइनेंस पे ही आ। आज आप दुबई चले जाएं, सिंगापुर चले जाएं, अमेरिका चले जाएं, सब एथिकल फाइनेंस की बात करते हैं। वो एथिकल की फाइनेंस की बात करते हैं लेकिन उनके बैक ऑफ माइंड में होता है कि एथिकल फाइनेंस इज टेक्निकली एन इस्लामिक फाइनेंस। इसी चीज़ को तो डिकोड करना चाह रहे थे। सो दिस इज व्हाट इज हैपनिंग अकॉर्डिंग टू आवर बुक्स, अकॉर्डिंग टू आवर माइंडसेट। एंड अभी भी 1.4 बिलियन लोग दुनिया के अनबैंक्ड हैं और जो बाकी बैंक्ड हैं वो अंडर बैंक्ड हैं। तो एक बहुत बड़ा अपॉर्चुनिटी है फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन का, और वो बहुत बड़ी अपॉर्चुनिटी फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन की एथिकल इस्लामिक फाइनेंशियल प्रैक्टिसेस से आ सकती है। दैट्स व्हाट वी आर डूइंग। तो मेरा टाइम खत्म हो गया है, आपको मैंने बहुत इन्फॉर्मेशन दे दी है। आई थिंक आपको थोड़ा सा झटका लगा होगा, यही मैं चाहता था, लेकिन लेट मी फिनिश दिस वेरी प्रॉपरली सो वी हैव अ प्रॉपर क्लोजर फॉर द कम्युनिटीज, बाय द कम्युनिटीज। बड़ा टॉप लाइन बता देता हूँ, हम रन ऑफ द मिल बाकी पास्ट में जो नाइना फाइनेंस में काम हुआ उन ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस की तरह नहीं है। हम वो पहली एप्लीकेशन जिसने हमें लाइव तरावी दिखाई। 4,05,000 लोगों ने, नकाश आई थिंक 75,000 लोगों ने ये लाइव तरावी देखी। ये मैं इसलिए बता रहा हूँ कि हम किबला डायरेक्शन, कैलकुलेटर, अपना क्रेडिट स्कोरिंग मॉडल खुद बनाना, अपना सेविंग रेट खुद बनाना, इस किस्म की इनोवेटिव चीज़ें इसलिए डाल सकते हैं स्पीड से क्योंकि हमारी एक टेक्नोलॉजी टीम। हम अपने कस्टमर को प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी की लेंस से नहीं देखते, एजुकेशन के लेंस से देखते हैं, क्योंकि हमें पता है वी आर वर्किंग बैकवर्ड्स कि 2030 में हमने क्या करना है। और नैनो इस्लामिक फाइनेंस पहली ऐसी ब्रोकन प्रोडक्ट थी जिसको हम ठीक करना चाहते थे इस्लामिक फाइनेंस से। नाउ वी आर ग्रोइंग एंड स्केलिंग फास्ट, जिसके लिए हमें यूनिवर्सिटीज ऑफ पाकिस्तान, रेगुलेटर्स, टेक्नोलॉजी पीपल की पार्टनरशिप, गाइडेंस चाहिए। इसी की वजह से आज हम इधर भी आए हैं। लास्ट बट नॉट लीस्ट, दिस आई वांटेड टू टेल। 2023 में मुझे रिफा यूनिवर्सिटी बुलाया गया। वहाँ पे डॉक्टर राशिद मॉडरेटर थे, मुफ्ती उसामा मेरे साथ राइट साइड पे पैनल पे बैठे हुए थे, मुफ्ती अबू बकर लेफ्ट साइड पैनल पे बैठे हुए थे। पैनल वेब 3, बाय नाउ पे लेटर, फ्यूचर ऑफ फाइनेंस से मुतल्लिक था। 200 से 300 स्टूडेंट्स ने, वो 2023 मार्च की बात है, सेशन अटेंड किया। फास्ट फॉरवर्ड 2025, आज डॉक्टर राशिद हेड ऑफ शरिया हैं वली फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज के। आज मुफ्ती उसामा साहब एडवाइज़र हैं, उनकी गाइडलाइन पे हम प्रोडक्ट डेवलपमेंट कर रहे हैं, पार्टनरशिप्स कर रहे हैं। ये मैं इसलिए बता रहा हूँ कि आज हमारी पूरी टीम वहाँ पे बैठी हुई है, इन दोनों साहिबान के साथ, सर तारिक के साथ जो हमें गाइड करते हैं, और हमारे बहुत सारे एडवाइज़र्स। तो आज के बाद हम इकट्ठा क्या क्या काम करेंगे, वी आर वेरी ओपन। come to us, we will make it happen. हम by the way National University of Science and Technology में पहला global Islamic fintech center बना रहे हैं. उसका मकसद ही है academia, government और fintechs को, Islamic fintechs को एक छत के अंदर जमा किया जाए. I wanted to talk a lot, but I don't have a time. But I hope I have done something in your mind that can make future happen together, inshallah. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you, Naushad Sahab, for sharing the real-time stories and fact and figures. The name is very interesting. I was talking the tea break with Dr. Rashid Mansoor Sahab. The name is Hakim. So what's the meaning of Hakim? So I was perceiving this from the Urdu perspective कि Hakim साहब के पास हर मर्ज की जो है दुआ होती है. Definitely, you are doing great work. Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to invite Mr. Tariq Naseem Sahab for such an important session. He is the head of Islamic Finance Department, Securities and Exchange Commission of Pakistan. He has done a lot of work for the development of non-banking and financial institutions.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya wal Mursaleen. Amma ba'd, fa'a'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Honorable Dr. Khurram Shehzad Sahab, Mufti Zubair Ashraf Usmani Sahab, my teachers, Dr. Atiku Zafar Sahab, Dr. Abdul Rashid Sahab, and fellow panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I would like to start my presentation and discussion with a fundamental question. From a regulator perspective as well as an ordinary citizen of Pakistan's perspective, that why the financial system, financial markets, financial institutions do exist. What is the reason? What is the purpose that we have Islamic financial institutions or initially financial institutions? So the answer is that these markets, institutions, products are there to serve the business need, to serve the economic need, be it the need of transactions, be it the need of savings, investments, and be it the need of funding. Each one of us has a need, financial need, that revolve around these three parameters. Either we are an investor, saver investor, or we are a fund seeker, we are raising funds through different means to fulfill our genuine needs, or we are transacting through financial institutions to fulfill our genuine needs. And if the financial system is not able to fulfill this fundamental need, I guess then the objective of creating such financial system is not achieved. So Islamic finance provides us an avenue whereby we can meet all these financial needs in a manner that is not only Sharia compliant, linked with our faith, based on our faith, but also it enable fulfillments of financial needs in a manner that is more sustainable, that is more just, that is more acceptable to the people of Pakistan. And with this concept and with this background, I'll divide my talk into two parts. One, what is the landscape of Islamic finance outside the banking world? In Pakistan, originally or historically, whenever we debate on Islamic finance, primarily we relate it to the Islamic banking industry alone. But I must tell you that there are many other institutions and avenues where you can fulfill all these needs of financial fund seeking, investment and transaction, like just the earlier speaker mentioned, Awali Financial Services, providing us services that fulfill your needs that are primarily not previously being fulfilled by the banking institutions in Pakistan. And therefore, in a financially excluded economy, in financially excluded population of Pakistan, these alternate financial institutions are very, very important to understand and then take benefit of those institutions in a manner that we can efficiently and effectively fulfill our individual as well as business needs. So in first segment, I'll talk about the Islamic financial landscape in non-bank sector of Pakistan. You can see on the screen the history of Islamic finance evolution over the period of time. It started from the creation of Pakistan, but materialized in the constitution in 1973. The first promulgation of Islamic financial services law was Mudaraba Ordinance. I am the registrar Mudaraba in Pakistan. So this was the dedicated primary law and the only dedicated primary law to regulate Islamic financial services in Pakistan. All other Islamic financial services in this country are being regulated through the law that are primarily made for the regulation of conventional mindset, conventional industry, conventional markets and institutions. This is an important thing to remember when we talk about Islamic financial services in Pakistan. So on the topic of today's discussion, I believe the regulators can only prescribe regulations, Sharia governance frameworks or other governance frameworks to set a bottom line, a baseline that is required to be fulfilled. But for the ethical governance standards that we are discussing in this conference and focusing is a thing that is over and above the baseline, that is over and above the Sharia governance framework that we have. Of course, through the code of ethics, we try to implement the ethical standards within the Islamic financial services industry. We already adopted the IOFI's governance standards and ethics standards for our regulated markets and persons. But again, the responsibility of ensuring ethical governance is the primary responsibility of the intermediary institution providing that financial services, and at the end of the day, a shared responsibility of all of us connected to that particular financial institutions. So these are the some background provisions of the law that enable regulation of Islamic financial services in non-bank financial sector. I will not go into details of these provisions, but again, these are the principles that we follow for regulating Islamic financial services in Pakistan. Again, these are derived from the Maqasid al-Sharia, need not further elaboration. But I will give you an overview of the regulatory mandate of SCCP and where we regulate Islamic financial services in this country. Our regulatory mandate is not an ordinary mandate that a securities regulator have in any other jurisdiction of the world. We are regulating capital markets in Pakistan. We are regulating Mudarba and Mudarba companies in Pakistan. We are the sole corporate registry in Pakistan. Every company incorporated in Pakistan have to be registered with us. We are the sole regulator of insurance industry in Pakistan, and above all the NBFCs and financial voluntary pensions also fall within our regulatory domain. And the digital tech, fintech, or technological enabled financial services are primarily being categorized as non-bank finance companies in Pakistan, except those that involve in the payment systems and offer wallets and other allied services. So in all these sectors, we have Islamic financial services. In capital market, you know, we have Islamic indices, Sharia compliant securities, then Sukuk, Islamic commercial papers. Mudarbas are all unique financial institutions in Pakistan and are purely Islamic financial institutions, then Takaful, and then a vast range of collective investments vehicles that include Islamic mutual funds, Islamic pension funds, Islamic exchange traded funds, Islamic real estate investment trust funds, etc. And then we also regulate Sharia advisory services in Pakistan by registering the individual and company as Sharia advisors. So this diverse regulatory mandate pose certain challenges. Obviously, we are mindful of those challenges that include that we have multiple legislation to look into. We have varied level of maturity of financial institutions. There are smaller institutions like microfinance companies, and there are large institutions like stock exchanges. And there is no, I would say, a dedicated primary law to regulate those financial services. There is a deadline set by the Federal Sharia Code and the constitutional amendment. And the challenge is to provide a Sharia governance and compliance mechanism for all of these types of institutions. And that is not possible until unless we have a flexible Sharia governance and compliance mechanism. And this is what exactly we are doing. We are primarily basing our regulatory framework on the concept of proportionality. Proportionality is a concept whereby higher requirements for the larger institutions for Sharia governance and compliance and lower requirements for the smaller institutions. Thereby, we ensure that the transactions that are being claimed as Sharia compliant transactions and institutions that are offering those transactions or services are sustainable. For a business to be a Sharia compliant, there first has to be a business itself. If business is not sustainable, then the question of Islamic business or Sharia compliant business does not arise. So we need to have business model that are not only Sharia compliant, but sustainable, so that they can serve the needs of Pakistan's economy and financial system. These are the some stats from our regulated sectors that exhibit that we are way ahead of banking system in Pakistan in terms of transformation in accordance with the Constitution and Federal Sharia Court judgment. Our majority of listed security at stock exchange are Sharia compliant. Our 43% of assets under management in collective investment schemes are Sharia compliant. Our 96% of real estate investment trust schemes are Sharia compliant. Our 65% assets of pension funds are already Sharia compliant. In Takaful sector, our share is a bit lower to 12%, but we expect with transformation of banking sector to Islamic banking, that this will automatically increase. The Mudarabah sectors are already Sharia compliant fully, and all the 20 Mudarabahs are listed, are operating as a listed institution at Pakistan Stock Exchange. We have a unique group of professionals, registered Sharia advisors that are there to serve the industry needs, to provide them with the guidance and the to verify the products and services and documents and contracts. Over this period of 2 years, we have initiated multiple reforms on different aspects of regulated sectors that include, obviously, firstly, our focus was to build our own capacity, to lead the industry and to provide the required guidance that we see that the regulated persons expect from us. And then we try to create the enabling regulatory framework for Sharia governance and other matters. For that matter, the most prominent and important thing was revamping of Sharia governance regulations 2023 that provide a mechanism for Sharia certification of Sharia companies as well as securities. So any company in Pakistan, be it a financial services company or a corporate, normal corporate, it can go through a process, voluntary process, to get it certified as a Sharia compliant company. And through that way, it can ensure that the business earnings are halal and the sponsors and the shareholder of that company are achieving their objective of a halal and permissible business model in Pakistan. For development of all these regulated sectors, obviously, we need a strategic roadmap, and that was luckily finalized last year and published. But this strategic roadmap for 2024-2026 was initially based on a in-house diagnostic review that we conducted back in 2023, where we identified the challenges and opportunities in financial sectors that we regulate. And we accordingly plan to facilitate our regulated persons to offer Sharia compliant financial services in all regulated sectors. And this is because of the constitution requirement, legal requirement that I earlier mentioned, as well as due to the fact that the Pakistani, by and large, are only accepting Sharia compliant financial services and product. One of the key reasons of financial exclusion in Pakistan, female financial inclusion, general financial inclusion, is the faith-based concerns of Pakistanis that they are not joining the financial institutions to protect their faith and their beliefs. If we are collectively able to offer them with the options, with the models, with the products, with the institutions that are aligned with their faith, obviously they will be financially included easily as compared to the other efforts that we are making. As an outcome of these initiatives, the last 2 years, we have seen many firsts. Like you can see in the slide on the first bullet that during the last 2 years, we certified first Sharia compliant asset management companies in Pakistan. In fact, there are 2 now. Then we certified a full-fledged Islamic NBFC, Kist Bazaar. Then we certified first non-bank microfinance companies, first Islamic brokerage company in Pakistan, first housing finance companies in Pakistan. And all these first depict that we have been successful in creating an environment, a framework whereby businesses are now gradually transforming and converting into full-fledged Islamic finance institutions. Apart from that, Sukuk market is also witnessing a healthy growth in corporate sides. Last year, we witnessed a growth of about 27%. Now, many of the corporates are issuing short-term tradable Sukuk in Pakistani market. Primarily, these Sukuk are privately placed, not for the general public, but many of the Sukuks are now being planned for issuance through the stock exchange. Similarly, Government of Pakistan is also now offering Sukuk through Pakistan Stock Exchange. So if I want to fulfill my investment need in a secured manner, I can invest through a registered broker in Pakistan Stock Exchange by subscribing to the Sukuk that have been offered by Government of Pakistan. Similarly, we have also noticing that major NBFCs are in the process of converting their products into Sharia compliant products. They are developing their new product model, like Wali Financial is developing for microfinancing products. Similarly, there are many other financial institutions that are designing new products that were not available in Pakistan in banking sector, and that will be able to, in my view, fulfill the financial needs of Pakistan with the help of technology and development. So for the future and the days to come, our focus is to remain focused on enabling Islamic finance in our other regulated sectors. We wanted to partner with institutions like Riphah and other universities and academic and professional bodies to promote Islamic institutions, products and services in all our regulated sectors. And obviously our regulatory, our religious, our constitutional obligation is to facilitate conversion within the given timeline. So these are our fundamental progress and developments in Islamic financial services. And I will quickly go through the second part due to the paucity of time, that you can see that there are many digital Sharia compliant institutions within the NBFCs that we regulate, that include housing finance, buy now, pay later, P2P financing, nano financing, microfinancing, and discounting services. There are many options for businesses to go for these Sharia compliant businesses. And then the ethical part on the, I think we all convinced that there is a need for ethical governance standards because there exist regulatory gaps. Regulations are not, regulations are man-made, not perfect. There are improvements, and with the development of technology, things are changing very rapidly, and regulations are not improving at that pace. Therefore, there is a need for ethical governance in this digital era, because I believe that the technology has enabled delivery of financial services 24/7, and regulation and monitoring compliance is lagging behind. We are not, as a regulator, able to monitor, supervise, and ensure compliance 24/7. So there is a need for us to adopt technology to fill this gap, and obviously ethical governance standards also help to fill this gap as well. My recommendation for ethical governance would be to focus on Sharia compliance. Obviously, this can be achieved through internal Sharia compliance, Sharia audit, Sharia supervisions, and appropriate disclosures. Another recommendation would be to integrate the Islamic finance principle with the SDGs and ESGs framework. That will also help us to achieve improvements in our regulatory practices and product portfolio delivery services. Then ethical investment screening and income purification is a pure responsibility of financial institutions and investors. They need to purify their income if they invest in financial services and earn their returns through capital gains or dividends. They need to purify that. And then obviously, as I mentioned earlier, that real-time Sharia supervision is required at entity and as regulator level. So we all know that what Sharia governance framework is, but the objective of Sharia governance framework is to provide a structure, a system for governing all business activities of Islamic financial institutions in order to ensure Sharia compliance at all times at all levels. So we have a comprehensive Sharia governance framework that is available for non-bank financial sector. Similarly, similar type of Sharia governance framework is also available for banking sector. And I believe, and I strongly believe that our Sharia governance framework, both for banking and non-bank sector, is at par, and in certain cases exceeds the requirements of international standards on Sharia governance that are required in the financial services industry. So I think there is no time left to talk about the areas that we specifically covered in these frameworks, and we can discuss these in some time later sessions. But I believe that collectively, with the academia, with the investors, with the customers, with the other bodies that are mandated with the responsibility of regulation, together we'll be able to transform our financial sector as a whole to create an enabling Islamic finance ecosystem so as to serve the genuine financial needs of ordinary Pakistani citizen in a genuine and acceptable manner. So I believe we'll continue to work together, and inshallah we'll address the challenges along the road. Thank you very much. Hope to see you soon again. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing a long list of the achievements and developments done by SCCP for the development of Islamic financial institutions. And he highlighted the sustainability of Islamic financial system, Sharia governance framework importance, and the financial inclusion particularly. Now we have another session which is very important for me, and we have a very nice personality, Professor Dr. Shafiullah Jan Sahab from Peshawar. He is the head of Center for Excellence in Islamic Finance, Institute of Management Sciences, Peshawar. So he will share with us bridging academia and industry, developing practical framework for Maqasid-based financial regulation.
Thank you very much. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Ladies and gentlemen, respected scholars, practitioners, colleagues, Riphah University, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I have written a speech because I wanted to be focused, but then you are listening to a lot of learned people and they propose a lot of solutions, and these solutions has this word of justice. And I have a hard time to understand what we mean by justice, because it's very easy, it's very, rhetorically very easy to say justice. We ought to do this, we should do this. But and then there are certain people who maybe have the capability to impose justice, but they urge us to impose justice or implement justice. So the questions that goes through my mind is that who will bell the gate? So billi ke gale mein kaun ganti baadega? That's the issue. So this is not my part of my speech, but this is something that we need to be very serious about it. And in my speech, I will be touching upon here and there, and then probably will come up or speak about something, but I will try to be as honest as I should be. And then there's another thing that I heard we talk about is, and well, not heard, but this seminar, this conference is based about Maqasid. And when we talk about Maqasid, we talk about, one of the objective of the Maqasid is profit sharing, partnership. And then I look at these statistics in the banks and they say, oh, look, we are doing a lot of partnership. But is Maqasid all about this superficial, I would say, partnership, where the partnership ought to be with the people that we need to actually help, or that partnership needs to be with all these blue chip companies? Because statistically, all these banks have running musharaka, and a high proportion of earning musharaka in financing, but who they are doing this running musharaka with. So are we just um, fulfilling the form, or we are moving to the substance? I totally understand that banks have to run by the prudential regulations and they have limitations. And for that reason, we need to talk about, and I heard a word from Mr. Minhas, right? Community banking. And I think community banking is one of the solution, because, and I speak about it, and we work with our students on the community banking, and we were looking into community banking in American economy, and they have this community banking, for example, for Hispanic community or Black community. So we were studying and we were looking at it, and we like this community based solution, because Islam is all about community. I'm not a scholar, I'm not a mufti, but I know Islam is all about community, brotherhood. Islamic bank should be a brotherhood, because you need to take care of each other. So Islamic banks eventually need to merge into this, how you can help the brothers in society. And then they were doing a lot of things, and then all of a sudden, when we were studying it, it disappeared. So we thought maybe they disappeared because they failed to keep their sustainability. But by further digging in, we realized that they were so successful that they grew into be a bigger bank, and they had to move from the community to a full-fledged bank. But I don't know how we interpret it, but that can be a good thing, that bank can be very community-based, and it can still achieve so much greater objectives that a lot of commercial banks are aiming for. So this is something we need to work. And then I was talking to bankers, and one of the things is that Islamization of the whole economy is very good, but are we ready for it? Because when you talk about the vision of Islamic finance, of the objectives, because we did a study on Makai Sharia, and the CEOs and these executives' objectives, their opinion about. And one of the conclusion we had in the study is that ye hamara kaam nahi hai. So this is a very serious question. Ye hamara kaam nahi hai, it means somebody else has to do it. But now when we have full-fledged Islamic finance, same people will be running Islamic finance. Aajkal thode bahut to hai, we are running, and this is what we were discussing. We have less number of people who are running, or who are working really hard toward Islamization and trying to bring in that justice, supposedly, whatever that concept is. But then you will have a conventional banker doing the Islamic finance as well. And I don't know, we are focusing on transforming the institutional level, but we are not talking about how we're going to make sure that board of management or director are Islamized as well. Because we are forgetting that, we are somehow looking from the political economy perspective of this thing. But we are not ready that once we have full-fledged Islamization, what we're going to do it. And we're going to be doing that monetization. It. We are focusing on Sukuk, and we are talking about asset back that probably happened somewhere, and then we are doing asset base, because beneficiary and legal are now acceptable. We are changing, but eventually everything will be monetized, securitized. So this claim of nothing happened to Islamic finance in 2008 is because we were not integrated with the world economy. So it's not that we stood up against this recession. And usually recession is like a flood. When the flood comes, Islamic finance would not survive. There's no way we can survive it when you have devaluation of all your assets. So it's musharaka, it's mudarba, it's murabia. You have to devaluation, you have to reevaluate your assets, and that's where you're going to be hit regardless of Sharia compliant or Sharia based. We need to understand that thing. So all these promises and claims are very emotional. We need to get serious because we are about to be 100% Islamicized. So anyways, so I feel really privileged when we talk about this subject that sit at the intersection of moral vision and institutional power, because we are talking about the academia, we are talking about institution, and but at the same time we are talking about the ethical aspects of it. So how can we bridge this gap between academia and industry to develop a maqasid-based framework for financial regulations? So mind you, this is not merely a technical task. It is deeply philosophical and ethical endeavor. We are not simply seeking to regulate transactions. We are attempting to shape the system that touch human life, influence destinies, and reflect the values we believe in. So I'm going to talk about the philosophical premises because I want to give what the maqasid carries. And then I'm going to talk about the problem of disconnection. And then I will move to the scientific. यार मैंने तो अभी शुरू की और मुझे conclude कह रहे हैं, ठीक है? Just like my supervisor, my Ustad Mehmet, I have to finish it before I sit down. All right. So, and this is very important because I want to take my time and speak to the students as well, because these people are going to be running this economy, inshallah. And then I'll talk about the scientific imperative. And then we'll move toward the framework for the integration. And then I will touch upon the global significance of this. And then I will conclude it. So I'll try to go faster. So let's look at the first principle, the Islamic worldview. It does not treat finance as a morally neutral, you know. It's not like a valueless. We, in fact, see finance as a mechanism that can either serve human flourishing or facilitate injustice, whatever that injustice is or justice is. So the Quran reminds us that the wealth is trust, not an end in itself. And this is very important because in Quran it says, do not consume one's and others' wealth unjustly. So this is not simply a prohibition. It is an ethical orientation. So we just need to move and look at not just in a prohibition, but in a social-wise, system-wise perspective. So the philosophy of Maqasid Sharia, I'm sure somebody talked about it earlier as well, developed by scholars such as Imam al-Ghazali, Shatibi, Ibn Ashar, offer a higher order framework. So there is a framework which is based on 5 essential objectives: preservation of faith, life, intellect, lineage, and wealth. So these objectives provide a framework for evaluating the relevance of new technology and such as AI to Islamic principle. So, you know, this is there, we can look at it. And these are not abstract category. They provide a blueprint for an ethical civilization where finance, law, governance all serve the dignity and development of the human being. You know, Islam has focused on dignity. Prophet ﷺ has made dua to Allah protect his dignity and development of human being. So the question becomes, how can we translate these eternal objectives into the language of modern financial regulations? So let's focus on this problem of disconnection. The law, the last few decades, if you look at it, has seen the emergence of Islamic finance. Theoretical contribution have done. People have written so many articles, journals are filled with, Islamic finance, Makai Sharia proposing indices, modeling social impact, but the problem remains the same. These ideas often fail to provide or penetrate the operational logic of institution we are trying to influence. So academically, we can propose a lot of solutions, but do we understand the operational limitations of these solutions? Because when these institutions are implementing them, they would say, "Ye meri responsibility nahi hai." So, I mean, there is some issue that when it comes to operationalization of these proposition that we as academia propose. Meanwhile, if you look at the industry, many institutions, while compliant in form, struggle with substance. So there's a time to talk about substance because we are converting to be a full-fledged. So if we do not focus on the substance, then I think that will be like a previous experience is a failure, and then we will be regretting that we rush into something that we were not ready about it, and then you have to give it 50, 60, 100 year more just to go back and win the trust back and then do it again. So we need to be very careful. So products are, if you look at industry, are engineered to resemble conventional instruments. The Sakuk is like Islamic bond. Even that name is wrong because it's not a bond, right? But the rationalization is, oh, because people are familiar with this, so when we do rename them, it will be easily accepted. We should go for the genuine rather for the easy acceptability, because it can be easily accepted and it can be easily forgotten. So, these instruments have a very minimum divergence. You are more on the form focus. So we will correct the form, and then it's a Sharia compliant. So regulator, if you look at the regulator, they will focus on the technical compliance. Technically they fulfill all, rather than the ethical alignment. So an innovation is often driven by the commercial pressure, not by the moral imperatives. This is very important. So this disconnect between theory and practice is not just inefficient, it is epistemically unjust. It undermines the very purpose of maqasid, which is to generate real life, real world benefit and prevent harm. So moving to the scientific imperative, science in a broader definition is not limited to physics or chemistry. It is a discipline, pursuit of knowledge guided by the method, evidence, and willingness to revise assumptions. And we're going to fit into this framework that I'm going to propose. So what we need is a scientific application of maqasid, where we move from the abstract details to testable framework, which include developing impact matrices that translate maqasid goal into measurable outcome. For example, instead of vague appeal to social justice, we can track financial inclusion rates, we can give transparency scores, and we can do some risk sharing ratios. These should be the part of these matrices, not like we should have a justice and we should have, even my ustad would say, Ehsani based economy. So we need to have some measurable objective of these things. And then we have to build upon that causal models, cause-based, cause and effect models, to evaluate how specific financial instruments contribute to or detract from these objectives. This could involve econometric analysis. This
behavior finance studies, or Islamic ethic-based cost-benefit frameworks. And then at the same time, we need to create regulatory sandbox to test these models and then test them in a control environment, allowing it for real time feedback and adaptive policy making. So this is not a compromise ethics for data. It is about validating ethics through data. That's very important. This scientific application of microfinance will mirror the need for ethical consideration to be incorporated into the development and the usage of what is, we call it AI. So what this integrated framework would be, it should be a regulative framework. Maybe it will be based on certain principle which we call it sometime axioms in Islamic finance. This principle foundations which talk about equality, which talk about trust and transparency. And this is what I'm excited about this technology, because at least I can imagine this trust and transparency there. Share risk and responsibility, societal well-being. These are the principal foundation. Preservation of the environment, future generation. Operational tools. Sharia compliance. So when you look at the operational tool of these things, Sharia compliance is only the first layer. We need to understand it. Beyond that, institutions should be evaluated using an integrated Maqasid impact assessment framework, scoring products and practices across multiple ethical dimensions. We need to have digital tools such as AI-driven compliance system, ESG integrated Maqasid dashboards could track both financial and ethical performance in real time. Policy levels like ethical tax incentive, impact linked capital requirement, tiered compliance licenses can also help guide behavior systematically. So you know how you train the behavior with some incentives as well. Collaborative mechanism is another part of this framework. Academia and industry co-produce knowledge. Think tank, share board. फिर ये नहीं कहेंगे कि टाइम जो है वो कम होगी. अच्छा सर, ये आप पहले वालों को कह देते, then we would have enough time. ठीक? Just 2-3 minutes. So I was talking about the collaborative mechanism. So academia, industry must co-produce knowledge. I'm just going to go a little bit fast. And then we have shared governance structure. We need to bring in these public-private ethical shared commissions to look at it, which is independent of these institutions. And this is what we call intellectual ihsan. Excellence not only in what we believe, but in how we build. So not only believe, but we have to build upon it. And if you look at globally, talk about the ethical finance, so the world is actually moving in the directions of this maqasid already. We are talking about the ESG, we are talking about impact investment, we talk about stakeholder capitalism. All these things echo themes of ethical responsibility and long-term welfare. So what Islamic finance can offer is just not an alternative, but a deeper philosophical grounding. It reminds us that finance must serve dignity, not dominate it. This is very important. The Islamic finance should not dominate the dignity, serve the dignity. That sustainability is not just a trend, but a trust. That value must never be separate from the values. So, just to conclude, bridging academia and industry is not simply a logistical task, it is a moral and civilizational project which requires scholars who speak the language of practice, practitioners who engage with the depth of ethics, regulators who see compliance not as a ceiling, but as a floor. Prophet ﷺ said, the most beloved of people to Allah are those who are most beneficial to people. Let us take this hadith as a guiding light. Let us move beyond these formalities towards shared purpose, to design financial system that heal, uplift, and reflect the divine trust of Khalifa Amana placed upon us. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Shafiullah Jansab, for a detailed presentation. I was unable to stop him because he came all the way from Peshawar along with his team, so might be fully equipped. So we gave him a lot of time. Thank you so much, sir. Now we have last presentation in this regard. और चूंकि बातों की भी आवाज़ भी आ रही है और खाने का टाइम भी हो चुका है, but we have a presentation online, so you should bear it for 15 minutes. Then we will have a break, inshallah. Now I would like to invite Dr. Mughis Shokat Saab from Bahrain. He is an Islamic finance advisor and expert. So he will share with us from a blockchain to AI how fintech is reshaping Islamic financial governance. Mughis Shokat Saab.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, sir, we are hearing.
Yeah, and you can see my slides as well?
No, sir. Please share the slides.
Is it visible? Because I'm sharing my slides from my end already.
No, sir. No, side पे आ रही मेरे ख्याल में. इसको please push the full screen button.
You can see it?
No, sir, not right now.
I would then request Brother Mansoor to, if he can display the slides, given the technical glitch. अच्छा जी, सबसे पहले तो अस्सलाम वालेकुम रहमतुल्लाहि ताला to all of you, and good afternoon in the wonderful land of Pakistan. Good evening, good morning to all those participants who are gaining enormous benefits by joining this conference and this valuable discussions online. This conference, this Riphah conference on International Conference Islamic Business is very much among my own conferences back at from the very start of it. और normally मेरे लिए बड़ा बाइस फख्र होता है कि हमेशा मैं physically वहाँ पे present होता हूँ अपनी खिदमत देने के लिए. But this time, due to some business travels, the dates suddenly got clashed and I couldn't skip the other business travel. तो हमें फिर ऑनलाइन खिताब के लिए रिजॉर्ट करना पड़ा, जिसके लिए मैं बड़ा शुक्रगुजार हूँ, ओवरऑल शुक्रगुजार हूँ हमेशा की तरह University, all the organizers, led by the very able leadership of Professor Dr. Anis Ahmed, Dr. Khurrum, and the whole team from top to bottom. You have done a good job yet again. और ये एक कॉन्फ्रेंस सितारा है पाकिस्तान के इस्लामिक फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर्स में उन बाकी इनिशिएटिव्स की तरह भी जो कि इंडस्ट्री को डेवलप करने में एक बड़ा ही पुख्ता किरदार निभा रहे हैं। मैं उर्दू और अंग्रेजी दोनों में मुखातिब रहूंगा। आई नो प्रोफेसर कबीर हसन, हु इज अ डार्लिंग ऑफ माइन, is sitting there, but since his Bangladesh link, he does understand few Urdu words. So with his permission, of course, I'll do dual language. More importantly, इसलिए क्योंकि I would want to make sure कि जो पैगाम है वो पाकिस्तानी यूथ को और पाकिस्तानी कम्युनिटी को बखूबी समझ आने की कोशिश मैं समझा सकूं उनको। सबसे पहले तो आई एम जस्ट फ्रेश फ्रॉम द एयरपोर्ट, तो अगर कुछ ऊपर नीचे चीज हो जाए तो जस्ट अंडरस्टैंड कि नींद का फुकदान है एक्सेसिव ट्रैवलिंग की वजह से, और कुछ नहीं। लेकिन शुरू करने से पहले सबसे पहले तो माय सिंसियर कंडोलेंसेस टू द होल इस्लामिक फाइनेंस कम्युनिटी, Pakistan itself and the family on the demise of a very great Islamic scholar, Professor Khurshid Ahmed. मैंने तो उनके ज़ाती तौर पे भी काम से बड़ा सीखा, अभी भी सीखने को मिल रहा है। तो अल्लाह ताला उनको आला तर मुकाम अता फरमाए जन्नतुल फिरदौस में इंशाअल्लाह, आमीन। मुझे बड़ी खुशी हो रही है तारिक भाई आपको देख के। शफी, आई मीन यू आर एन एनिमल व्हेन इट कम्स टू टाइमिंग इश्यूज। Prof. Kabir Hassan, as I mentioned, you're a darling. Or Baki Numan se, I've heard him first time speak. I think whatever he submitted is very exciting. I would like to know more about this later on with him. अच्छा, I mean, this topic is, मैं कोशिश करूँगा 10-15 मिनट में इसको wrap up कर लूँ, although the topic is very important. ये topic जिसमें fintech जो है वो एक developing समंदर है, जिसमें ब्लॉकचेन और एआई जो है वो दरियाओं की हैसियत रखते हैं। ब्लॉकचेन को आप तशबीह दे दें दरिया रावी से, और एआई को आप तशबीह दे सकते हैं रिवर इंडस से, दरिया सिंध, बड़ा दरिया, जो कि दोनों गिर रहे हैं इन द ओशन ऑफ फाइनेंशियल टेक्नोलॉजी एंड व्हाट नॉट। तो इसलिए इस खिताब में मैं कोशिश करूंगा कि बड़ा नपतुला मैं आपको पॉइंटर्स बताऊं, especially building from my previous speakers, जिसमें डॉक्टर जुबैर उस्मानी का मैंने खिताब सुना। बड़ा ही उन्होंने जबरदस्त नुकात के ऊपर निशानदेही की, जो कि बड़े बुनियादी नुकात हैं, और उसके सही किए बगैर, एड्रेस किए बगैर कश्ती आगे सही तरह बढ़ नहीं पाएगी। So what I'm trying to do is I'm going to be very crisp, very precise, and I want to open this with a note. ये एक नोट है जो मैंने बनाया, और मैं चाहता हूं कि आप इसको बखूबी समझें, क्योंकि आई एम ओपनिंग द स्पीच विद दिस ओपनिंग नोट एंड देन आई एंड इट विद अनदर नोट, एंड इन बिटवीन विल बी द मीट ऑफ आवर डिस्कशन, फूड फॉर थॉट जिसको मैं कहता हूं, या फूड फॉर टॉक। अच्छा, ये नोट है कि इन इस्लामिक फाइनेंस इट इज नॉट जस्ट अबाउट व्हाट वर्क्स। इन इस्लामिक फाइनेंस इट इज नॉट जस्ट about what works, it's about what's right. इस्लामिक फाइनेंस में इट्स नॉट के जो चीज काम करती है वो ठीक है, इट्स अबाउट जो चीज काम करती है वो सही काम करती है। दिस इज व्हाट मैटर्स इन इस्लामिक फाइनेंस। सो इट्स नॉट जस्ट अबाउट व्हाट्स वर्क्स, इट्स अबाउट व्हाट्स राइट। दिस इज द होल स्टोरी ऑफ इस्लामिक फाइनेंस इन वन लाइन। ब्लॉकचेन के ऊपर बात करते हैं। ब्लॉकचेन, द राइज ऑफ ब्लॉकचेन, जैसे मैंने बताया वो दो दरिया है, एक छोटा दरिया एक बड़ा दरिया है, जो कि फिनटेक के समंदर में गिरते हैं। ट्रस्टलेस यस ट्रस्टवर्दी। देखिए ब्लॉकचेन, इसके ऊपर तो मेरे पास मौका नहीं है डिटेल में बताने का कि ब्लॉकचेन होता क्या, बट आई एम टेकिंग इट फॉर ग्रांटेड, क्योंकि यूथ को आजकल इन चीजों का बखूबी अंदाजा होना चाहिए, अगर नहीं है तो होना चाहिए। इट्स अ टेक्नोलॉजी बिल्ट ऑन डिसेंट्रलाइज्ड ट्रांसपेरेंसी एंड इम्यूटेबिलिटी, जिसमें आप इंक्रिप्शन कर देते हैं एंड टू एंड, और एक बड़ा एक पुख्ता अपेरेंटली एक कोडेड एनक्रिप्टेड ट्रस्टवर्दी डिसेंट्रलाइज्ड आपके पास एक सिक्योरिटी मैकेनिज्म आ जाता है। ब्लॉकचेन बेसिकली इसको अपने आप को थ्राइव करता है कि इट क्रिएट्स मच मोर ट्रस्ट एंड ऑन टॉप ऑफ इट ट्रांसपेरेंट ट्रस्ट, बट एज वी ऑल नो these are no foreign values to us as Islamic finance experts or religion Islam, क्योंकि जो ट्रस्ट का नोशन है उसका मदर जो है वो कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ अमाना है हमारे यहाँ, और इस्लामिक बैंक्स और इस्लामिक फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर और रेगुलेटर्स इस ट्रस्टीशिप मदर ऑफ ट्रस्टीशिप से बखूबी वाकिफ हैं, जो कि इनबिल्ट है इस्लामिक फाइनेंस और इस्लाम में। तो ब्लॉकचेन और इस्लामिक फाइनेंस का ये जो मेन जुज है, ये जो न्यूक्लियस है ऑफ बिल्डिंग ट्रांसपेरेंट ट्रस्टीशिप इज वेरी कॉन्सोनेंट टू ईच अनदर। ब्लॉकचेन के बारे में जो चीजें इस्लामिक फाइनेंस में ज्यादा रेलेवेंस हो जाती है, ब्लॉकचेन मिसाल के तौर पे किन चीजों को बढ़ावा दे सकता है। चंद मिसालें हैं इस टेक्नोलॉजी के ऊपर, इस दरिया के जरिए स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स को जन्म दे सकता है ब्लॉकचेन इस्लामिक फाइनेंस में। टोकनाइजेशन की अभी मेरे ख्याल नुमान ने बात की थी जब वो हकीम के बारे में बता रहा था, तो टोकनाइजेशन और सकूक टोकनाइजेशन फॉर एग्जांपल उसको जन्म दे सकता है। ज़का और वक्फ के सिस्टम को ज्यादा ट्रांसपेरेंट, ज्यादा ट्रस्टवर्दी बना सकता है। एनक्रिप्शन बड़ी इसकी यानी हार्ड टू डीकोड एनक्रिप्शन हो सकती है, एंड सो ऑन एंड सो फोर्थ। मैंने चंद मिसालें दी जो ब्लॉकचेन टेक्नोलॉजी से इस्तेफादा हासिल हो सकता है। लेकिन याद रहे कि हम जब ट्रस्टीशिप की बात करते हैं तो जो करंट फिनोमेना ऑफ ब्लॉकचेन है that appear to be trustworthy but not necessarily sharia trustworthy। तो अभी जो करंट फिनोमेना है जो कि एक चैलेंज बना पड़ा है खासतौर पे इस्लामिक फाइनेंस की एप्लीकेशन के लिए ब्लॉकचेन के अंदर, जो कि मैं समझता हूँ चैलेंज मींस उसका अदर नाम अपॉर्चुनिटी, और खासतौर पे पाकिस्तानी यूथ के लिए जो टैक्स हैवी यूथ है और 64% आबादी का हिस्सा है। तो the current transparency notion of blockchain is not necessarily sharia trustworthy or sharia transparent by design। तो उससे बड़े मसले मसाइल जन्म लेते हैं, जिनका चंद का तो मुफ्ती जुबैर उस्मानी ने कुछ जिक्र किया अपने खिताब में लेयर ऑन। फिर आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के ऊपर है, जैसे मैंने बताया मैं बड़ा ब्रीज थ्रू करूंगा और मोटे नुकात के ऊपर क्रिस्पली बात करना चाहूंगा। आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस is, I don't know, I mean, it's a mini ocean, let alone Indus River falling in the ocean of fintech। आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस जो है वो थोड़ा सा ज्यादा मैं समझता हूँ इट्स मोर अपॉर्चुनिटी प्रोन, इसके फवायद बहुत हैं लेकिन खतरनाक भी। इसलिए मैंने इसको ये टैगलाइन दिया कि आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस इज इट इंटेलेक्ट विदाउट इंटेंट और इंटेलिजेंस विदाउट मोटिव। ये बड़ा जरूरी जुमला है इस्लामिक फाइनेंस के लिए, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस को समझने और अप्लाई करने में इस्लामिक सेक्टर के लिए, क्योंकि आपको समझना चाहिए कि आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस इज एन इंटेलेक्ट विदाउट इंटेंट एंड इट इज आल्सो इंटेलिजेंस विदाउट मोरालिटी। और मोरालिटी का तो यानी चोली दामन का साथ है इस्लामिक फाइनेंस के साथ। तो आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के अंदर मिसाल के तौर पे कैन वी रिलाई ऑन अ मशीन टू मेक अ डिसीजन दैट अलाइंस विद डिवाइन प्रिंसिपल्स। आप नहीं रिलाई कर सकते हैं उस आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, उस मशीन के ऊपर जो कि अलाइन ना करते हो अपने आप को डिवाइन प्रिंसिपल से। और डिवाइन प्रिंसिपल्स, रिमेंबर, दे आर यूनिवर्सल। आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस इज नॉट यूनिवर्सल, इट्स वेरी सब्जेक्टिव। ऑल्सो अगर वो जो एल्गोरिथम्स हैं बैक एंड पे आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के जो रन करते हैं, कैन यू स्ट्रेट अवे अप्लाई देम? और अगर आप अप्लाई करते हैं, व्हाट्स द गारंटी कि वो एल्गोरिथम रन करें और आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस की बलबूते पे आपको ऐसा डिसीजन मेकिंग और बिग डेटा दें जिसके अंदर इंटरेस्ट बेरिंग प्रोडक्ट्स और नॉन शरिया कंप्लायंट का कोई अमल दखल ही नहीं है। वो तो छांटी नहीं कर सकता है और डिफरेंशिएट नहीं कर सकता अपने आप को, क्योंकि करंट आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस फिनोमेना स्पेशली फॉर द फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर is alien to all of these things. Hence, I mean, and what if it learns from data that doesn't understand halal और हराम का डिफरेंस उसको नहीं पता, जो भी वो आपको डिसीजन मेकिंग के लिए सपोर्ट देता है इन द फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर। एंड रिमेंबर, इन्नमल अमान अल बिनियात, हम तो इसके ऊपर थ्राइव करते हैं और बिल्ड करते हैं अपना पूरा मोरल और सोसाइटल आर्किटेक्चर भी, लेकिन AI हैज नो, दिस मस्ट कम फ्रॉम अस। तो ये वो कोर चीजें हैं जो कि इस्लामिक फाइनेंस को मद्देनजर रखनी पड़ेंगी जब वो ब्लॉकचेन और AI को, और ये जैसे मैंने आपको बताया कि ये चैलेंजेस अपॉर्चुनिटीज हैं, ये फुकदान जो मैं आपको जिक्र कर रहा हूँ ये अपॉर्चुनिटीज है। दीज आर अपॉर्चुनिटीज फॉर अ टॉप लेवल कंट्री लाइक पाकिस्तान हु इज अ पायनियर इन रिजुविनेटिंग इस्लामिक फाइनेंस। मुझे तो बड़ी खुशी होती है पाकिस्तान के अंदर इस्लामिक डेवलपमेंट को देखते हुए, और अभी जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में रिफॉर्म आया है उसके ऊपर जो इम्पल्स ज्यादा स्टेमिना ज्यादा बड़ा है इंडस्ट्री का। आई मीन दिस इज वेरी हार्टनिंग। अभी लास्ट दिसंबर में वी वर इन कराची ऑन अ ग्रैंड शो दैट SCCP put, I was taken aback by the bliss and the whole effervescence जो उस शो में था। तो इन चीजों को मद्देनजर रखते हुए लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन हमें आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस को ट्रेन करना पड़ेगा, नॉट ओनली ऑन फाइनेंशियल डेटा बट एसेंशियली ऑन डेटा दैट इज शरिया कंप्लायंट फाइनेंशियल डेटा। ये बड़ा जरूरी है। AI needs to be trained on Sharia compliant data. AI needs to be trained on Sharia audit and explainability. Ethical oversight, इसका जब तक Sharia oversight नहीं होगा, ये वो चंद नुकात हैं जो आपको मसला मसाइल adoptability में आता रहेगा, let alone सिर्फ इसको समझने में। Responsibility, जैसे मैंने आपको बताया, these challenges are opportunities, especially for a young Islamic financial market. Like young means age-wise young in terms of the youth content that the market has in Pakistan. हमें ऐसे शरिया स्कॉलर्स अभी से प्रोड्यूस कर देने चाहिए जो कि एम्बेडेड हों इस अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी, इवन क्लाइमेट चेंज, जो कि पाकिस्तान ऑल्दो नॉट अ प्रोड्यूसर ऑफ क्लाइमेट चेंज बट फ्रंट एंड के ऊपर हमें फाइट करना पड़ रहा है, to issue guidance, to issue intellectual dialogues and intellectual writings, R&D, fatwas, shape Sharia based AI frameworks for our industry. I think this is the only way forward. Or मैं समझता हूँ universities like Riphah can take the lead among the Pakistani education sector कि इस तरह assure करें कि जो हमारा human capital है, young human capital जिसमें Islamic finance को आगे चलाना है, वो इन चीजों से मालामाल है, internalized है। फिर मैंने जैसे आपको बताया कि path forward is not without challenge। अच्छा, ये तो मैं आपको सिर्फ artificial और blockchain उन दो दरियाओं के challenges मुख्तसर करके बता रहा हूँ, जिसमें डेटा प्राइवेसी का बहुत बड़ा, एआई में तो डेटा प्राइवेसी मैन ओ मैन इट्स गॉन क्रेजी। अभी आपको पता है कि नहीं कि अभी 28 ममालिक ने पिछले साल के एंड में एक ब्लैकशले अकॉर्ड साइन किया है जिसमें सऊदी अरेबिया और यूएई भी शामिल हैं, और ये ममालिक रेगुलेट करेंगे एआई को। दे हैव सीन व्हाट द ब्लिस प्लस द डार्क साइड दैट एआई कैन ब्रिंग। उसमें डेटा प्राइवेसी इज अ मैसिव एआई और फिक इशू बनने वाला और बन चुका है। डिसेंट्रलाइज्ड फाइनेंस के ऊपर अगर शरिया ओवरसाइट नहीं है तो वो तो कबाड़ा कर सकता है, बड़ा मसला आ सकता है। और गैप बिटवीन द सोसाइटी, इंडस्ट्री एक्सपर्ट, स्कॉलर्स एंड डेवलपर, जिसका अगेन मुझे बड़ा मजा आया मुफ्ती जुबैर उस्मानी की तकरीर सुनने का। नॉट दैट अदर्स वर नॉट गुड बट वन और टू पॉइंट्स वेरी स्पेशली ही मेंशन। ये वो चीज है जो गैप बिटवीन सोसाइटी, इंडस्ट्री एक्सपर्ट, स्कॉलर्स एंड डेवलपर्स में जब ब्रिज नहीं होगा, ये अलर्टनेस नहीं आएगी एंड एक यूनिफाइड एफर्ट नहीं बनेगी तो लोगों उसमें कुछ ना कुछ लूप होल्स रहेंगे। एंड मोस्ट ऑफ ऑल वी नीड टू थिंक इस्लामिक फाइनेंशियली बिफोर वी कोड एनी टेक्निकलिटी और एनी डिजिटाइजेशन। भाई ये तो बहुत ही जरूरी, आपको पता चल गया एआई, ब्लॉकचेन। जब आप डिजिटलाइजेशन और टेक्नोलॉजी को किसी भी शेप और फॉर्म में थोड़ी या ज्यादा अडॉप्ट करेंगे, चाहे वो एआई या ब्लॉकचेन है या नहीं है, मैन ओ मैन आप जाएंगे सीधा इन द वर्ल्ड ऑफ साइबर सिक्योरिटी रिस्क, जो कि इनएविटेबल है और बिल्ट इन फीचर है ऑफ दिस ब्लिस। तो मैं तो इसको बोलता हूं कि साइबर रिस्क आर द डार्क साइड ऑफ द टेक्नोलॉजी ब्लिस। इससे आप जान नहीं छुड़ा सकते। ये वो रिस्क हैं जो कि आपको फेस करने पड़ेंगे। रिस्क मैनेजमेंट इज नाउ गोइंग टू बी कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट। अगर आपको लगता था कि रिस्क मैनेजमेंट इज ऑलरेडी हार्ड इन द कन्वेंशनल एरिना और 101 फाइनेंस, अभी तो साइबर सिक्योरिटी रिस्क मैनेजमेंट आ गया। अभी तो क्लाइमेट चेंज का रिस्क मैनेजमेंट की तो बात ही नहीं किया क्योंकि टॉपिक वो नहीं है। तो भाई ये तो बड़ा मसला आने वाला है। और रिस्क मैं तो समझता हूं कि साइबर रिस्क इज गोइंग टू डिसाइड द फ्यूचर ऑफ frugality as well as robustness and anti-fragility as a matter of fact of the whole Islamic financial system. तो आपको ये देखना होगा कि बाकी AI और ब्लॉकचेन का तो मैंने आपको बता दिया। जब आप गवर्न करेंगे तो you have to make sure all the governance bodies, be it central banks, SCCP पाकिस्तान में और शरिया बोर्ड जो सेंट्रल शरिया अथॉरिटी है पाकिस्तान में, इवन इंडिविजुअल शरिया बोर्ड, शरिया स्कॉलर्स, एक यूनिफाइड अप्रोच करना पड़ेगा कि जो भी आप करते हैं रेगुलेशन, इट मस्ट ensure that regulation from its writing to its application and even post application is cyber hygienic. ये बड़ा जरूरी है, ये वर्ड आप याद कर लें। ये आपका बैरोमीटर होगा आपकी पॉलिसी को जांचने का, रेगुलेशन को, गवर्नेंस को जांचने का कि क्या वो डिजाइन एंड देन इंप्लीमेंटेशन एंड पोस्ट इंप्लीमेंटेशन साइबर हाइजीनिक थी कि नहीं। This is going to be the anti-fragility test of your policy and hence its application and its effects. A call to action as a result, ladies and gentlemen, this is not a moment of hesitation. It's a moment of opportunity for a new age ijtihad and ijma in this new dynamics, driven by these new dynamics. Standards for smart contracts हमें बनाने चाहिए. देखिए, charity begins at home. हमारे पास ग्लोबल इदारे हैं, IFSB है, IOFI है, IFM है, IRA है जो इंटरनेशनल रेटिंग एजेंसी है इस्लामिक की, और भी हैं. लेकिन चैरिटी बिगिंस एट होम. हम जब खुद से ये काम करना नहीं शुरू करेंगे, नेशनल लेवल एज नहीं बनाएंगे, हो सकता है वो नेशनल लेवल एज इतनी पुख्ता बन जाए कि बाकी अदारे हमसे सीखें, तो काम आगे चलेगा नहीं. तो वी हैव टू स्टार्ट फ्रॉम आवर ओन. स्टैंडर्ड्स बनाए आप इतने ज्यादा, माशाल्लाह. तारिक हैज अ ब्यूटीफुल टीम, सो इज SCCP ओवरऑल, या SBP. अभी मैं सलीमुल्लाह साहब को सुन रहा था, इज अ ग्रेट ब्रदर ऑफ माइन. SBP में बड़ा इंटेंसिटी है इसको एड्रेस करने में. तो आपके पास इतना अच्छे वो लोग हैं, उनको हम इस्तेमाल करें, नेशनल एज बनाए कि हम बनाएंगे, पाकिस्तान बनाएगा इस्लामिक फाइनेंस में स्टैंडर्ड्स फॉर स्मार्ट कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, गाइडलाइंस फॉर एम ड्रिवन सर्विसेज, शरिया कंप्लायंस, एंड अ ग्लोबल कोलैबोरेशन टू हार्मोनाइज इस्लामिक डिजिटल गवर्नेंस, साइबर हाइजीनिक रिस्क मैनेजमेंट. हम इजाद करते हैं. अभी कौन बोल रहा था सब प्राइम क्राइसिस का? मेरे ख्याल नुमान था भाई. वो उसमें तो नॉर्मल रिस्क मैनेजमेंट नहीं हुई उनसे, लेट अलोन साइबर हाइजीनिक रिस्क मैनेजमेंट. तो ये पाकिस्तान इन चारों चीजों में मिसाल के तौर पे लीड कर सकता है, ensuring that these, especially AI and blockchain, serve maqasid al-sharia principles. That's very, very important. फिर regulation or reg tech, super tech means supervisory technology, reg tech means regulation technology, and sharia tech can go from a compliance after the fact to a compliance by design approach. ये बड़ा जरूरी है. रियल टाइम मॉनिटरिंग ऑफ कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स आपको करना पड़ेगा इसमें. ऑटोमेटेड शरिया ऑडिट्स को आपको मद्देनजर रखना पड़ेगा. प्रिवेंटिव गवर्नेंस, खास तौर पे उन ट्रांजैक्शन की जो कि नॉन शरिया कंप्लायंट ट्रांजैक्शन है, ये जो कभी कभी टेंटेड इनकम आ जाती है, या कुछ डेट का एलिमेंट आ जाता है, या अनअवॉइडेबल इनकम है, बड़ा जरूरी है. इसलिए मैं ये समझता हूं कि फॉर ऑल द रेगुलेटर एंड गवर्निंग सिस्टम, जो गवर्नेंस अप्रोच अब होनी चाहिए, it should be an activity based approach rather than an entity based approach. मिसाल के तौर पे अभी तारिक जो हैं वो बता रहे थे कि हमारे ये सारे सेगमेंट जो हैं रीट्स के ऊपर, और इवन माइक्रो फाइनेंस बताया उन्होंने, NBFIs का भी जिक्र किया, बड़े जबरदस्त कॉन्फिडेंटली माशाल्लाह, और सही भी है, बता रहे थे कितने जबरदस्त इस्लामिक फाइनेंस रेगुलेटेड है वो. लेकिन अगर ये डिजिटल होंगे और टेक्नोलॉजी का और AI और ब्लॉकचेन और इस तरह की चीजों का वो भी शरिया कंप्लायंट एलियनेशन में इस्तेमाल करेंगे, तो मैं समझता हूं कि activity to activity, solution by solution governance and regulation approach would be more appropriate, जैसे सिंगापुर कर रहा है, as compared to overall entity को आप रेगुलेट करने लग जाएं कि as if entity has become digital. No, one by one digital activity को आप अगर आप oversight सही करेंगे तो पास एक गुलदस्ता बन जाएगा to shape up an overall regulatory regime. जैसे मैंने आपको बताया, fintech offers an incredible opportunity to move from the after the supervision to real-time embedded compliance. This is fintech when we embed Sharia principle into it, very architecture of financial technology. Role of governance body में आ जाएगा. It starts from within, जैसे मैंने आपको बताया, develop new Sharia standards, certify AI models and blockchain. उलमा and technology का आपस में marriage होना बड़ा जरूरी है. और please make sure, मैं मुख्तलिफ मुल्कों को देखता हूँ, यहाँ GCC में भी वो बड़ा शोखी मारते हैं कि हमने जी fintech sandbox बना लिया, and it is as if it's universal. It is one size fit for all, which is a very good initiative. लेकिन इस्लामिक कंट्रीज में जिन्होंने इस्लामिक फाइनेंस को होस्ट किया हुआ है, स्पेशली प्रोमिनेंट कंट्रीज लाइक पाकिस्तान, इनको एक डेडिकेटेड इस्लामिक फिनटेक सैंडबॉक्स बनाना चाहिए, नॉट नॉर्मल फिनटेक सैंडबॉक्स. तभी इस तरह की सोल्यूशन टैक्स हैवी यूथ के जरिए निकाल सकेंगे आप. तो लास्ट बट नॉट लीस्ट, ये मेरा एंड कोटेशन है. लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, लेट अस नॉट वेट until fintech defines our future. Let us define what a Sharia compliant fintech future looks like together. With that, I end my case, and lovely being here. Inshallah ta'ala, next time we'll see you in person in Islamabad. Ma'assalam.
Thank you. थैंक यू मुगीश शौकत साहब, बहुत अच्छी प्रेजेंटेशन आपने मुख्तसर वक्त के अंदर दी है. अब चूंकि हमारे पास टाइम ज़रा लिमिटेड है, आई वुड रिक्वेस्ट टू ऑल यू पीपल के थोड़ी सी ज़रा आप लोग खामोशी इख्तियार कर लें ताकि वी कैन कंक्लूड दिस सेशन. चूंकि लंच का टाइम हो चुका है और क्वेश्चन आंसर सो ठीक. So we will take the question answer session inshallah after lunch inshallah. Now we are moving towards the shield distribution ceremony. I would like to request Professor Dr. Khurram Shehzad Sahab to come in front. So I would like to request Professor Dr. Kabir Hassan Sahab to come in front of stage and receive the souvenir. I would like to invite Mr. Noshad Minhas Sahab to receive his shield. Sir, please stay with us for a group photo as well. Okay. I would like to request Mr. Tariq Naseem Sahab to receive his souvenir. I would like to request Dr. Shafila Jan Sahab. So I would like to request all speakers to for a group photo. Ayush sir, please. अब चूंकि खाने की ब्रेक है इंशाल्लाह वी विल कम बैक अराउंड 2:30 इंशाल्लाह और अब जो मेल्स हजरात हैं उनसे